Last night, Trump gave an update as to when you can expect to see those $2,000 dividend checks hit. Take a look at the latest headlines with me. Coming out 14 hours ago, Trump says $2,000 tariff rebate checks, they won't come before Christmas. He is saying they're going to arrive in 2026. Trump says $2,000 dividend checks will be sent next year sometime if the plan moves forward. And we are hearing, though, that the White House has said that Trump is committed to $2,000 tariff dividend payments. The White House says this comes after the Treasury Secretary appeared to cast doubt on the payments, but we have heard that that has changed. Let's take a look. Trump $2,000 tariff dividend could be limited to families earning under $100,000. Treasury Secretary Bessent saying that they are planning to get these checks out to 150 million families in America. And take a look at this as well. We're hearing that yesterday, Trump's $2,000 check update. The proposal gets a boost from the top economic official. That is Mr. Kevin Hassett. I'm going to be playing the video footage for you so that way you can see it for yourself. So I'm going to dive right in and get you caught up on the latest as we're hearing that the White House, Trump is committed to $2,000 checks. And if you like the sound of that, let me know in the comments. But we're hearing that the arrival time is going to be in 2026. So I'm going to play for you the video footage, share with you the articles. They're all going to be hyperlinked in the description. You can click the links, go read it, see the dates, the sources for yourself. If you appreciate that, do me a favor, take a quick second, hit that thumbs up like button, subscribe to stay up to date. It's totally free. Why not? I'll keep you up to speed on everything. But with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the video footage so that way you can see the latest updates for yourself. This coming out today, November 15th, 2025.
And $2,000 rebate checks for average Americans, middle class, lower income, that would get something back to try and help them to deal with costs. Here's President Trump talking about those rebate checks. Listen.
Some of the rebate checks, sir, how soon could Americans see those checks? Will that be in time for Christmas, holiday shopping?
No, not for this year. It'll be next year sometime.
Do you have a time frame? How many months?
Sometime during the year, next year. It's a lot of money, but we've taken in a lot of money from tariffs. The tariffs allow us to give a dividend if we want to do that. Now we're going to do a dividend, and we're also going to be reducing debt. We have, because of Biden and others, we have $37 trillion in debt. So we're going to be doing a dividend, which people will enjoy and spend and do what they want. But we're also going to be reducing debt very substantially.
And those checks are not going to be going to high-income earners.
Yeah. And they're not going to come before Christmas. They're going to come after. So maybe if you have that debt hangover, you might get a $2,000 check to help you.
So there you have it, you guys. Now, let's take a look at the articles so that way you can see this as well. You can see here, this one says, Trump says $2,000 tariff rebate check won't come before Christmas. You heard him say it won't be by the holiday season, but it will be sometime in 2026 as they're pushing for this. Americans won't get a $2,000 rebate check from the federal government before Christmas. President Donald Trump said yesterday, that the proposed checks will not be distributed before the end of the year. Trump made the comments aboard Air Force One on his way to Mar-a-Lago, the president's club in Palm Beach. It's his 14th trip to Palm Beach this year. Trump has proposed sending $2,000 checks to most Americans, excluding high-income earners. Earlier this week, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said no decision had been made on the income limits. On the same day, the White House said that it was exploring all of its options. Now, for sending tariff rebate checks, even as the Supreme Court considers the legal challenges to the president's tariffs. Now, we have heard that they are still working on that. They're pushing for $100,000 or less, as you saw from that headline. Congress would need to authorize rebate checks similar to those distributed during the COVID-19 pandemic. Trump has addressed the issue on rebate checks multiple times this week. All money left over from the $2,000 payments made to low and middle income USA citizens from the massive tariff income pouring into our country from foreign countries, which will be substantial, will be used to substantially pay down national debt, Trump wrote in a social media post earlier this week. Now, while Trump provided no details, early estimates suggest that the checks would cost more than the tariffs are currently generating. The Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget reported that if the payments were like the COVID-19 stimulus, the $2,000 dividends would cost about $600 billion, about twice what tariffs are expected to generate. Now, a Congressional Budget Office report from August estimated that the tariffs could bring in $4 trillion over the course of the next decade. That CBO report came with caveats and noted that tariffs will raise consumer prices and reduce the purchasing power of U.S. families. Now, here's another one. Trump says that the $2,000 dividend check will be sent next year sometime if the plan moves forward. And you can see this one came out today, November the 15th, 2025. Americans likely won't receive President Donald Trump's proposed $2,000 dividend checks ahead of the holidays, the president said on November 14th. Trump speculated that if his proposal for the checks to be paid for by money from U.S. tariff revenue moves forward, select taxpayers would get the funds in 2026. It'll be next year sometime, Trump told reporters while speaking aboard Air Force One. So there you have it, you guys. We're hearing it is likely going to be coming sometime next year. Now, in addition to that, as I mentioned to you yesterday, Trump is saying that he is committed to $2,000 tariff dividend payments. The White House has confirmed this. I played for you the video footage. They asked the press secretary directly, is the White House committed to getting $2,000 checks out to the American people should they expect it? To which she said, yes, the White House is committed to this. They want to get this out, and they have all of their economic advisors. Everybody is working to try to see if they can get this through. Now, we had initially heard Mr. Bessent say he wasn't really sure if there were going to be a check that was sent out by the president, that maybe he meant it would be no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax Social Security would be the way that you would get that back to you. But now we've heard him confirm as well, no, he wants to send out a $2,000 dividend, and it would be for families earning under $100,000. That coming out from Scott Bessent. Now, in addition to that, take a look at this. This coming out yesterday. We have heard one of the top economic advisors, and that is Mr. Hassett, has said that they are working on this. A top economic advisor within the Trump administration said there is enough tariff revenue to cover the $2,000 checks that President Donald Trump has proposed handing out to Americans. It's something that will require legislation. But if you look at how much tariff revenue has been coming in, then there would be actually enough room to cover those checks and not go into the rest of the budget, Kevin Hassett said. Director of the National Economic Council said while speaking to reporters on Thursday. Now, Newsweek contacted the White House and the Treasury Department via email on Friday. Now, here's why it matters. As tariffs often end up raising prices for everyday Americans, the $2,000 dividends could be a welcome relief to many low to moderate income Americans who have experienced inflation. Now, while Trump and the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent have been in talks for the dividends courtesy of the tariff revenue, congressional approval would be needed to get the money into the hands of the American people. Hassett's comments are the most concrete endorsement yet from a senior economic official that Trump's proposed $2,000 tariff dividend could be financially feasible. This is in spite of independent analysts casting doubt on whether the amount of money that has been generated by tariffs could cover those checks. Here's what to know. Trump has said that the checks would go to middle-income people and lower-income people and not higher-income earners, though he did not clarify the thresholds of who qualified within these brackets. So far, Trump's proposal has remained entirely theoretical with no formal steps taken to advance it yet. Speaking to reporters on Thursday, Hassett said that dispersing these checks would require legislation. When asked by reporters whether he was working with Congress to progress such legislation, Hassett said, "We are actively studying the matter and getting the numbers straight, so the president has all the choices he needs to decide what to do." The government raised $195 billion in customs duties through the fiscal year of 2025, according to the data from the Treasury Department. The number, while more than 250% greater than what was collected in the previous fiscal year, is lower than the trillions the president has claimed his tariffs have already generated. Erica York, the Tax Foundation's vice president of federal tax policy, previously noted in a social media post that even after excluding high-income earners, which she classed as people earning over $100,000, the proposed $2,000 tariff dividend would cost nearly $300 billion, more than what the tariffs have generated so far. So here's what people are saying. President Donald Trump told reporters on Monday, "We are going to issue a dividend to our middle income and lower income people, about $2,000, and we're going to use the remaining tariffs to lower our debt." Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said, I haven't spoken to the president, but we've heard that he now has. And so this is an old quote. I'm just going to skip over that one. Michael Ryan, from a finance expert, he said tariffs are essentially a tax Americans pay at the checkout counter. So while a $2,000 check might sound good, tariffs on imports drive up prices on everything from groceries to clothes. Part of that dividend gets clawed back through higher costs. Kevin Thompson, CEO of 9A Capital Group, said a lot of people are assuming this will look like the pandemic-era stimulus, but I don't see that as being the case. If anything does pass, it will be symbolic. Hard checks aren't happening. That goes directly against the Republicans' agenda of debt reduction, and they're not going to reverse that stance with the new round of payments. Long term, this isn't COVID-style injection of cash into the economy. It's more of a policy adjustment than a true stimulus. So what happens next? For Trump's plan to proceed, it would need to be approved by Congress. Meanwhile, the legality of the president's tariffs policies will be decided by the Supreme Court. If the justices rule against the tariffs, this would further undermine Trump's ability to issue out checks. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Are we going to be seeing these checks? Do you think that this is going to unfold? We're hearing that President Trump, the White House has said they are committed to making this happen, and they're saying it's going to happen in 2026. We're hearing it's going to need congressional approval, so they're going to need to get Congress on board. Now, if they can't, they could use the reconciliation process possibly to get a majority vote. But right now, we're hearing a whole lot about checks, and we'll be seeing if there's going to be $2,000 on the way 2026. Now, whether it does or does not, I'll be sure to let you know here on the channel the latest updates so you know exactly what is going on. And if you appreciate that, do me a favor. If you haven't done so yet already, hit that like button. Subscribe to stay up to date. It's totally free. Why not? And I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.